Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive into a new field. Today we're tackling biochemistry, a field that's, well, pretty complex, but don't worry.
Yeah, it can seem intimidating, right? But it's also incredibly fascinating. We're going to break it all down for you, whether you're thinking about a career change or just really into how life works at a chemical level.
Exactly. And we've got some great resources to help us out today. RoleCatcher, the career platform. They've got this in-depth guide on becoming a biochemist, plus some insights into their AI-powered job search tools, which we'll get to later. But first, let's set the scene. What does a biochemist actually do?
Okay, so most people, when they think biochemistry, they think like new
Right,
medicines.
developing new drugs and treatments.
Exactly, which is huge, obviously. But it goes way beyond that. Like, at its core, biochemistry is about understanding the chemical reactions happening inside, well, everything alive.
Every cell, every process.
Exactly. Every second, there are all these reactions happening, and biochemists are kind of like detectives figuring out how it all works at the most basic level.
It's like decoding the language of life, but instead of letters, it's molecules.
Perfect analogy. And, the guide mentioned how biochemistry is tackling some really big challenges like antibiotic resistance.
Oh, right, because those miracle drugs we used to rely on,
Yeah.
not so miraculous anymore.
Yeah, some bacteria are like, we're good. So biochemists, they're on the front lines trying to outsmart those superbugs and develop new ways to fight disease.
It's like an arms race, but at the microscopic level.
Totally. And what I find super cool is how this ties into personalized medicine.
Oh yeah, that was in the guide too. Using someone's genes to create treatments just for them.
Exactly. Imagine your doctor doesn't just treat the symptoms, but targets the actual root cause of your specific disease based on your unique genetic makeup. It's like next level healthcare.
It sounds incredibly futuristic. Is that really on the horizon?
Oh, it's already happening. Gene therapies for things like cystic fibrosis, some cancers. It's early days, but biochemistry is making it a reality.
So we're talking potential breakthroughs, not just incremental progress.
Absolutely. It's a crazy, exciting time to be in the field.
Okay, so we've established biochemists are doing some seriously important work. But what's it actually like to be a biochemist? Do you spend all day, every day in a lab?
Well, you definitely spend a good chunk of time in the lab, yes. But it's not all test tubes and beakers, like in the
Yeah,
movies.
what's the work environment really like?
One thing that surprised me in the RoleCatcher guide was the variety. Sure, there's academic institutions doing research, but also government agencies, private companies, lots of options.
So you could be at a university pushing the boundaries of knowledge or at a company developing, I don't know, a new skincare product or something.
Exactly. It really varies. But no matter where you are, one thing is constant. Safety is paramount.
Right, because we're talking about some pretty powerful chemicals and reactions, right?
For sure. The guide emphasized how important it is to follow safety protocols, like
Yeah.
really strictly. You're often working with stuff that could be, well, dangerous if not handled properly.
It's a delicate balance. You need that drive to discover, but also a good dose of caution.
Definitely. And speaking of advancements, one thing that's really changing the game is technology. The guide talked about AI and machine learning, which is huge in biochemistry now.
Really? Tell me more about that.
So imagine you have these massive data sets, right? Way too much for any human to analyze effectively. That's where AI comes in. It can sift through all that data, spot patterns, find connections a human might miss.
So it's like having a superpowered research assistant.
Exactly. And this is just the beginning. It's changing how we design experiments, how we interpret data, even how drugs are manufactured. It's pretty remarkable.
And that's just one way AI is being used. Okay, but before we get too far ahead, let's talk about what it actually takes to become a biochemist. It's not like you just wake up one day and boom, you're analyzing DNA.
It does involve a bit more than that, unfortunately, though maybe someday. But yeah, the guide talked about the education side, and it can be, well, pretty demanding.
So where do you even start? High school biology class.
That's a good foundation. Solid grounding in biology, chemistry, math, that's key. Then usually a bachelor's degree. Biochemistry, chemistry, something related.
Makes sense. Get those fundamentals down. But what about if you want to do, like, serious research? Does the guide mention advanced degrees?
Definitely. For leading research, getting funding, that usually means a master's or PhD. It's a big commitment. But if you're passionate about making discoveries, that's often the path.
It's like you can read about expeditions or you can lead them.
Exactly. But it's not just what you know, but what you can do, right? The guide talked about skills, and it's not just like being good at science.
Right, because being a brilliant scientist doesn't mean you can automatically explain those ideas to others or work effectively in a team, which I'm guessing is super important in research.
100%. The guide called out teamwork, communication, all that, but also those hard skills. You need to understand DNA replication, enzyme kinetics, all those complex things we've talked about.
So you need those analytical skills, designing experiments, analyzing data, troubleshooting when things go wrong, which, let's be honest, happens.
Oh, all the time. But then being able to communicate those findings clearly, that's where those soft skills are essential.
It's like that saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Love that. And speaking of going far, let's walk through those career stages, shall we? From like entry level all the way up.
Yes, paint us a picture. What are those early roles actually like? Asking for a friend, of course.
Think of it as biochemistry boot camp. You're working alongside experienced researchers, mastering those essential lab techniques. You're running experiments, analyzing data, probably doing a good amount of, the less glamorous stuff too.
Right, like late nights in the lab, labeling samples, that sort of thing.
Exactly. The guide had this example of a research assistant at a biotech company. Maybe they're working on a new diabetes drug. They're running experiments, analyzing the data, presenting their findings to the team.
So you're learning by doing, basically, like an apprenticeship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as you gain experience, you move up. Next stop, junior biochemist.
Okay, so what's different there? More responsibility.
Exactly. You're not just following instructions now. You're designing your own experiments, interpreting data, maybe even publishing research.
Wow, so you're really starting to make your mark, becoming an expert in the specific area.
The guide mentioned a junior biochemist specializing in immunology. They were developing a vaccine for a new flu strain, having to stay updated on research, design their own experiments, analyze all the data. It's a lot.
Sounds both exciting and intense. And eventually you reach the top, right? Senior biochemist, leading the research, pushing the boundaries.
Precisely. They've got years of experience, publications, a deep understanding of their specialization. They're not just doing research, they're mentoring others, getting funding, shaping the future of biochemistry.
That's incredible. They've gone from boot camp to generals, basically.
In a way, yeah. But even as a senior biochemist, there's room for specialization.
Right, because biochemistry is so broad, you can't be an expert on everything.
Exactly. Drug development, genetic engineering, agricultural biotech, you have to choose your lane. And the guide emphasized how important that is, not just for your own interests, but for the job market too.
Because if a company needs a specialist, they're going to pay for that expertise.
Absolutely. It's about finding that sweet spot where your passion and skills match a real-world demand.
It's not just about being good at something, it's about being passionate and wanting to solve those real-world problems. Which brings us back to, well, actually getting those jobs. And that's where RoleCatcher and their AI platform comes in, right? It seems like having every advantage in that job search would be, like, essential.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what's so cool about RoleCatcher's platform. It's like using AI to, level up your job search.
Okay, now I'm really interested. How does it actually work?
So say you upload your CV, right? Their AI analyzes it, but not just for keywords. It looks at how well it matches specific job descriptions.
Oh, smart. Because customizing your CV for every single application is, well, the worst.
The worst? But it gets better. They also have these AI-powered mock interviews.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you do a virtual interview, and the AI analyzes everything. Your answers, your body language, even your tone.
It's like having a virtual career coach giving you feedback.
Exactly. And that kind of personalized feedback, it's invaluable because it's not just about saying the right things. It's about conveying your passion, your expertise, all that in a way that really connects.
RoleCatcher is combining that human touch with AI insights, which that's a powerful combo.
Totally. And I think it speaks to a bigger thing happening in the job market. It's not enough to just have the skills and knowledge. It's about how you present them, how you use technology to stand out.
Right. Like even in a field as science-focused as biochemistry, you got to be tech-savvy.
100%. Okay, stepping back for a second. If there's one thing I hope you take from this whole deep dive, it's that biochemistry, it's a field overflowing with possibilities.
It really is. Whether you dream of, I don't know, developing a life-saving drug or understanding how the brain works, or even like revolutionizing agriculture, biochemistry has a place for you.
Well said. It takes dedication, curiosity, and honestly, a bit of creativity. But the rewards, they can be huge.
So listeners, if any of this has sparked your curiosity, don't let that fade. Go explore the world of biochemistry. Who knows what discoveries are waiting for you?
And when you're ready to share your brilliance with the world, RoleCatcher can help you put your best foot forward.
Exactly. Because in biochemistry, like in life, it's about the journey, AD the destination. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of biochemistry. And until next time, stay curious.